Happy birthday, everybody, and welcome to Cerealsly, where we take cereals seriously. My name is Alex, and I eat and review hundreds of cereals a year in order to help you get the most out of your cereal experience. Today on Cerealsly, things are going to look quite a bit different than usual. We don't have any cereals to eat because instead we are going to use this last episode of 2024 to look back at all of the new cereals we've reviewed this year and make the first ever Cerealsly tier list. Before we get to the long slog of looking at every single new cereal from this past year, let's just go through some stats that I think you might find interesting. How many episodes of Cerealsly do you think we did in 2024? Well, including this one, we did exactly 52. Over those 52 episodes, how many cereals do you think we tried together? We looked at 102 different cereals in 2024, and 55 of those were brand new. For those of you who are Cerealsly junkies, it may interest you to know that our most watched video of the year was our review of the Good Mythical Morning cereals called MishMash. The least watched videos of the year were consistently our Special K episodes. People are like, I hate Special K in particular. All right, thanks for letting me spit some channel stats at you. Now, let us dive in. Let us make a tier list together of the 55 new cereals of 2024. All right, as you can see, I have my computer out with me, and I'm going to use a tiermaker.com tier maker. You can find it yourself and follow along. I'll put a link down in the description. I have put these cereals into alphabetical order. I thought that was the most fair way to do it. You can see we have S, A, B, C, D, and F tiers for our walkthrough today. All right. Let's get started at the top. What do we got first? First is one of two new Cap'n Crunch cereals. I love regular Cap'n Crunch. Cinnamon Crunch, to me, was a step in the wrong direction. If Cap'n Crunch itself is a 4.5, this one I rated really low at a 1.5. So let us put that in the category of C. C tier cereal, my friends. Sorry about that. Faring a little better was the second cereal, Cap'n Crunch Sea Berry Crunch. The promise of this cereal is that they would donate $1 for every box sold to Ocean Conservancy, and that's great. We love the ocean, right? You like the ocean? This one basically tasted like Cap'n Crunch Crunch Berries, but only kind of a blue or a teal one, which was totally fine with me. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5, which means it is in the A tier, just coming in the A tier. Pretty good, Captain. Next, we had two cereals from Cascadian Farm, which I had never had before. I don't just mean these cereals. I mean, I'd never had a Cascadian Farm cereal before. Seems a little hoity-toity to me. But we've got mini Fruitfuls and mini Cookies and Cream. These ended up landing in the same categories as the two Cap'n Crunches, by which I mean to say that the Cookies and Cream didn't fare well. I gave it a pretty low score of 2.0. That means it also is a C tier cereal. Mini Fruitfuls, on the other hand, I like this a lot. It kind of tasted like a healthier Trix Minis cereal with less vibrant colors. That's fine. I gave this a 3.5, which puts it all the way up in A tier. Way to go, Cascadian Farm. Next, we had two cereals from the very beginning of the year. I think these were released on January 1st, 2024, with a wild idea. These are Cheerios Veggie Blends. They really do have vegetable puree mixed into them and then covered by absolutely wonderful Cheerios flavors. The flavors here are apple, strawberry, and blueberry banana. I think these were a fantastic innovation by Cheerios. They snuck vegetables into my cereal, and I totally liked it. The apple strawberry got a 4.0, squeaking right above the blueberry banana that got a 3.5. But regardless, those both fall into the A tier of cereals. Vegetable cereal got into A tier this year. The next one is Chocolatey Chocolate Lucky Charms. Very strange to me because we actually on the episode compared these to what had been called Chocolate Lucky Charms and found that both that old cereal and this, upgraded one, both got 3.5 as the score. So no improvement, but these were totally yummy. 3.5 still puts it into A tier. Boy, there's a lot of things in the A tier so far. Maybe I was in a good mood in 2024. Never mind, I wasn't in that great of a mood. Because next we have Crumble Cookie, which I really wanted to be good. We put this into a chocolate chip cookie cereal showdown, and it got last place. It is not as good as Chips Ahoy cereal, which was the winner, or even Cookie Crisp. This one, they did something weird to it. Put some sort of strange vanilla or something in it that I did not like. I gave this one a 2.0, which puts it in miserable C tier. That's not so great. Crumble Cookie, you can do better than that. Continuing the trend of 2 cereals released in a set, next was Kellogg's Extra cereal. The big problem I had with this cereal was the question of extra what? This cereal has almost nothing in it. It's basically just granola without any fun. And that led to one of these, the almond version, being rated very low. It was, in fact, on our tier list, it's going to be the first in the D tier because I gave it a 1.0. That's not good. This other one, Crispy Cluster Cinnamon, we rated much higher. I thought it was a good base granola. Sure, there was nothing in it, but at least it made me want to add things to it. Plus, I gotta give it points. Can you see this wonderfully gold foiled logo they have? I gave the cinnamon version a 3.5, which puts it in the A tier, far, far away from its yuckier brother. Now we are hitting the highs, friends, because this Cinnamon Toast Crunch waffle cereal was my cereal of the year. I love that it had the nostalgic cinnamon toast Cinnadust in a super fun new shape. Put it up there with all of the other great waffle cereals that have existed. But even more than that, this was my only 5.0 rated cereal of 2024. It goes all the way up to S tier. If you have not tried this, you have got to go to the store today and get it. It is so delightfully good. And now we go crashing back down to the earth for this absolutely hideous cereal that comes next. Fruit Loops Rainbow Sherbet Scoops. This is one of those nasty cereals that when you eat it, it has some sort of chemical that cools your mouth. I could not stand this stuff. It did not taste like rainbow sherbet, which I love, and that's how I say it, rainbow sherbet. How do you say it? But all I know is this stuff was bad. I gave it an extremely low score of 0.5, which puts it down here in D tier in our tier list. No good. Next was an odd one that does indeed say new on it, although people have claimed that they've had it in the past. That's fine. It was new for me in 2024, and that is Frosted Bran. Have you ever seen this guy, this logo, without his 2 scoops that go in Raisin Bran? Well, here he is. Seems a little naked to me without them. I did not enjoy it very much. It was fine, but it was begging for raisins. In fact, this is one of the strange ones where I really enjoyed this cereal much more dry than I did in milk. My final rating for this one was 1.5, which puts it middling in sort of this C tier. Hey, we've got nothing in the B tier yet. Isn't that strange? Speak of the devil, this one will be our first in the B tier, and that is the recently released Honey Bunches of Oats Frosted Bunches. Problematically, the bunches in this are not frosted. It is like the cornflake stuff that is frosted. Still, it was pretty good. It reminded me of regular Honey Bunches of Oats. And the question is, what is regular Honey Bunches of Oats? This one we gave a 3.0. It goes squarely into the B tier, which now exists. This is the first one in there. Next, we got a weird one. Frosted Chocolate Cake Cereal. This is obviously a shredded wheat cereal, but it says shredded wheat nowhere on the box. And this is not a flanker of Frosted Mini Wheats. No, this is from Post, which has its own gross shredded wheat, those big kinds. They make big biscuit. I don't know if the makers of this ever tasted chocolate cake because it was not good enough to have that label on it, especially because the frosting on it is white. Have you ever had a chocolate cake with white frosting? I know a couple of you have, but usually it is chocolate frosting, which would it have killed them to make this chocolate frosting? Just add some cocoa powder or whatever. Well, they didn't. And because of that, it got a 1.5, which puts it in C tier. Next, we have one of the most criminal cereals of 2024. Frosted Flakes Chocolate Milkshake. I hate this cereal, and I hate it because it completely replaced one of my favorite cereals of all time that I had just discovered in 2023. Frosted Flakes chocolate had like true chocolate syrup poured over it in such a luscious way. This is dumb and gross and not nearly as good as chocolate Frosted Flakes, which now no longer exists because they replaced it with this stupid stuff. So I gave this a 1.0, which puts it in D tier because it is dumb. Next, we have one of the many flankers of Cheerios this year, and that is the very generic, very generally named Fruity Cheerios. Even though it was generic, it tasted very good. And I gave this a 3.5. It's very similar to the sweetness level of a Honey Nut Cheerios, but just the fruity version of that. I gave it a 3.5, which goes into the A tier of cereals. Now we come to this big daddy. You can see how thick this box was. In the waffle crisp tradition, Post used this big mama of a box. I gave it a 3.5, which puts it into the A tier. It was just like waffle crisp. It's exactly the same cereal. It's just sprayed with sort of a fruity flavor on it. I would highly recommend this A tier cereal. Yet another set of cereals was released early in the year, this time under the Ghost Protein label. Protein cereals had a rough year. Only a few rose to the top. Let me tell you about the one that didn't first, which is this one, Ghost Protein cereal with marshmallows. It was bland, it was saccharine, it was boring, it was overly sweet, and the marshmallows did not do it any favors. It tasted like protein powder you were putting in your mouth. I gave this one just a 1, so it can go there in the D tier. Good news, I gave the PB version a much higher rating of 3.5. I thought the peanut butter really came through, really masked a lot of that gross protein powder flavor that you get from some of these cereals. So if you're going to pick up one of these, definitely pick up the PB one. Now, for some reason, this is also one of those cereals that's $8, $9, $10 on a shelf of a regular store. I don't know if that is worth it. There are yummier peanut butter cereals out there for sure. Regardless, I gave this Ghost PB cereal a 3.5, which puts it in A tier, really high for a protein cereal. Next, we're going to jam all of the great value cereals into one segment here. The first is this blueberry pie. This is definitely made on the base of the Great Value Cinnamon Toast Crunch alike, just this time with blueberry pie flavor sprinkled dusted on it. And I thought it was okay. I gave blueberry pie a 2.5, which puts it in B tier. Totally fine. Next was caramel apple cereal. There was green, there was red, and there was like brown color, which took me by surprise. I don't know why that was, because it's here on the cover. But that's the thing that really sticks out to me, that it had a surprise third color. That wasn't really a surprise at all. Anyway, I gave that also a 2.5. Let's put it there. Let me skip to cotton candy from Great Value, which was bad. I've never been a fan of anything cotton candy flavored that's not cotton candy, which I really like. I like cotton candy. I did not like this cereal. It tasted like nothing. It tasted like sweet and did not bring a lot else to the table. I gave this an extremely low score of 0.5. It is all the way down there in D tier, which I'd say was sad, but I'm not sad about it at all. Finally, in the realm of great value cereals in 2024, there was cookie butter cereal. This cereal is a revelation. They were so ahead of the curve by doing this cookie butter flavor. It is legitimately buttery. Now, that doesn't make any sense because cookie butter isn't actually buttery, but this cereal is, and it tasted awesome. This is probably my runner-up for cereal of the year. So let's put that one all the way up into S tier. A great value cereal in S tier is unbelievable. And it's back to back with another phenomenal cereal, which was Honey Bunches of Oats Salted Caramel. They marketed this as a fall cereal. Is salted caramel a fall flavor? It is now, because I loved this cereal. I am preaching all the time on Cerealsly about the necessity of the right amount of salt in cereals to really bring out the flavors. This one had salt in the title, and they nailed it. It's fantastic. I gave this a 4.5 Absolutely an S tier cereal. And you can't tell me this isn't a beautiful box. And now we're on a roll. Another very surprising cereal to me, Kashi Strawberry Banana Smoothie Loops. People have been telling me for years that I should try a Kashi cereal, and I never have until this one. Mwah! Very similar to a Cheerios flanker, but there's just something about this strawberry banana flavor that I am really into. I gave this also a 4.5, another S tier cereal, 3 in a row if you go alphabetically. But that's where the fun ends because this next cereal is the bottom of the barrel. It is Kelsey mixed cereal from these two guys, the Kelsey brothers. They're sports guys. I think I explained it on the episode and I've already forgotten about them, except one of them is dating Taylor Swift, at least at the time of this recording. All they did was talk about cereals on their podcast. General Mills reached out to them. They put together this lazy cereal where it's just Reese's Puffs, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Lucky Charms mixed. I thought it was very bad. I don't know if the cereals just rubbed up against each other too much, but they ended up being all gross. So their mix was a huge failure that I gave a 0.5 to. That is some B tier junk. So in my opinion, these brothers really blew it. Next, almost exactly at the halfway mark, is Kit Kat new and improved formula in 2024. Kit Kat cereal itself was released a year earlier and was only okay. I think I gave it a low score, 1.5 or 2. But then a miracle occurred. General Mills went back to the drawing board and actually improved the flavor and made it new. I gave this cereal a 4.0, a drastic improvement over the old one. 4.0 puts it all the way in A tier. Very impressive. Hey, if you made it to this halfway mark, I am incredibly grateful to you. Would you do me one more favor? Would you leave me a like on this video? That would really help me out. Next, we have a set of 4 cereals that were introduced throughout 2024. At first, there were these 3. There were Trix, Cocoa Puffs, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Later in the year, Birthday Cake Loaded was released. Each of these is a direct competitor to Crave, and I think they hit it out of the park for the most part. Birthday Cake Loaded, I rated the lowest at only a 2.0, which is C tier, but all 3 of these others I gave much higher scores to. Trix and Cinnamon Toast Crunch got 4.0s, putting them into A tier, but Cocoa Puffs Loaded, I gave a 4.5 to. I loved it. I thought it was the one that matched this format of cereals the best. I gave that a 4.5 all the way up into S tier. I hope they keep going with these loaded cereals. Next, we had 2 more Cheerios flankers, Maple Cinnamon Cheerios Hearty Nut Medley, which was so many words and so much just like stuff in it, but I didn't like it very much. The biggest thing that seemed promising about this cereal was the pumpkin seeds that are inside. Have you ever had a different cereal with pumpkin seeds in it? When I tasted the pumpkin seeds, I loved it, but there just weren't enough of them. I gave this a very low score of 1.5, putting it into C tier. However, Honey Nut Cheerios minis were just fantastic. I am a huge Honey Nut Cheerios fan. It has been the most stable cereal throughout my life. It was perfect for a minis version. Just so cute. I gave it a 4.0, putting it into A tier. I hope they keep doing more and more of these minis. They're just so fun. A late contender in the year for me was Mint Chip Oreo O's. I was really worried about this one because it continued the tradition of Oreo O's not having marshmallows in them, which they absolutely should. Still, this was a huge surprise for me. I loved it. I gave this one a 4.5, putting it into S tier. This cereal is not available throughout the entire country. Here in Los Angeles, I couldn't find it. I've heard from friends in Texas that they couldn't find it. I had to visit my parents' house in Madison, Wisconsin and go to Hy-Vee there in order to find it. So if you live in Madison, Wisconsin and you have a Hy-Vee, you should try this cereal. It tastes just like mint chocolate chip or mint Oreo ice cream. If you buy separate cereal marshmallows on Amazon and add that, it is one of the best tastes of the year. The next 2 cereals take us back to the very beginning of 2024. These were the MishMash cereals, which came from the guys at Good Mythical Morning. I mentioned it in the intro, but this was one of my most successful videos of the year, probably because people are searching for Good Mythical Morning. and ended up finding me, which is not the same. These were a very fun thing to try, if not entirely successful. This first one, MishMash Sweet Mac and Mellow, was such a fun idea. They are made up of these huge macaroni pieces and then cereal marbits. But two things, it didn't taste like anything at all. It just tasted like cereal, which actually would have put it in the category of things like Kix. You know what I mean? Where they taste like cereal, but they don't have like a fruity or a chocolatey or whatever flavor. They just taste like Kix. I think that's what they were going for here. It just didn't work very well, especially the marshmallows. They're pitiful in here. They need quadruple the marshmallows or quadruple the size, something to bring the marshmallows out. So I gave this one only a 2.0, putting it into C tier. The other flavor did slightly better. MishMash Peanut Butter and Honey Sandwich, but I may have to fault them because isn't the apostrophe in the wrong place on the These were a valiant attempt at a cereal flavor I had not had before that I think we should do more of, which is falling back on those nostalgic flavors you had when you were a kid. They base this off a peanut butter and honey sandwich, which they say they ate after school when they were young, and I think that is phenomenal. This had a very adult peanut butter taste to it, which was surprising, but I guess Rhett and Link are adults, so that makes a little bit of sense. Anyway, I gave it a 3.5, which puts it all the way up into A tier. Now we've come to it, friends. Early in the year, January of 2024, Mouth Off cereal came onto the market, and I want to declare something to you. This is the worst cereal I have ever had. Not only is it repulsive tasting, but the texture of this cereal tastes like mattress foam. When I was reviewing it early in the year, I tried to take a bite. It expanded in my mouth to the point where I had trouble swallowing. I thought it was going to kill me. Neither of these flavors is any good at all. I cannot believe how pretentious and cringy these boxes are. This comes at a high premium cost of $9 or $10 in stores. It is the worst cereal that has ever been released. I cannot tell you how bad it is. The F tier was invented for these two cereals. Neither is better than the other because they are both repulsive. Please, oh please, watch that review because it was so fun. But please, oh please, do not buy Mouth Off cereal unless you're buying it for an enemy, which you shouldn't have enemies. Be nice. Next, we have a cereal that's only slightly better than those. The big letdown from this year's Monsters cereal from General Mills. This year, it was Monsters Frightful Friends. This was kind of a Monster Mash-ish cereal where they said they put a lot of these monsters together. They added their Frightful Friends, which are like their pets, as marshmallows. Overall, it was pitiful. It was not a true Monster Mash in the sense of it didn't taste like all of the cereals. It just kind of tasted bland and boring, and the marshmallows only did it the slightest of favors of improving that. I gave it a 1.0 all the way down in B tier. What a letdown. Thank goodness we have more flankers from Cheerios. This one was a really interesting one. Peach Mango Cheerios. I thought, again, it was the perfect amount of flavoring, a wonderfully unique mango flavor on there that I had never had in any other cereals. I thought it was a fantastic summer flanker for Cheerios. I gave it a 4.0, which puts it in A tier. Next, we have a very odd one, which is Reese's Puffs Peanut Butter Lovers. You can see this is based on the Peanut Butter Lovers peanut butter cups, which are, instead of chocolate, they have a peanut butter coating on the outside for peanut butter lovers. All that makes sense. This cereal, though, didn't make any sense. Supposedly, it is just the peanut butter puffs from Reese's Puffs. But on the episode where I reviewed it, I put it head to head with regular Reese's Puffs, and I could not taste the difference. They took away 50% of what makes Reese's Puffs, and to me, it's tasted exactly the same. How stupid and weird. But I suppose because I love Reese's Puffs, I still gave this a 2. It wasn't repulsive. It was just the exact same thing. Still, 2 earns it a spot in the C tier, which is nothing to write home about. And we're back to another pair of cereals that were released new this year that were on opposite ends of the spectrum, and that is Quaker protein granolas. This is, of course, along those same lines of protein cereals where the key is how well do they disguise the protein flavor in it. One of these did very well and the other did not. The one that did not was this one, maple and brown sugar. This seems like such a home run flavor, but it was just so bland, so proteiny. I gave it a 1.0, which is D tier yuckiness. Thank goodness the other one was also released, oats, chocolate, and almonds. Now I'm an Oxford comma guy, and so that's certainly lacking here, but what I did find here was a totally decent cereal. This one hid the protein pretty well. I liked the chocolatey flavor that was in it, although for some reason I assumed that there would be some sort of chocolate chunk, which there is not. Still, I gave it a 4.0. It was another one of those protein cereals that actually did pretty well this year. Here's another odd one from 2024, Red Panda Puffs from Nature's Path EnviroKids. The conceit of this one is that it's peanut butter and strawberry. I hoped it would be a nostalgic PB&J flavor, but it wasn't. Actually, it was mostly J. It was mostly jelly flavored, which was a little bit of a surprise. Plus, they had to color it with natural things because this is one of those organic cereals. And so they had to use beets, and it's pretty vibrant. Those were the only two good things about it, though. The peanut butter barely comes through, and I ended up giving this cereal a 2.0. Many people commented on how cute this red panda is, so I guess that's nice. The next cereal really tried to capitalize on my nostalgia, which is this s'mores cereal from Golden Grams. You can see it uses very 80s colors, which I like. Even has this back to the 1980s little headline there. I can tell you it was okay. Nowhere near to one of my most beloved cereals of all time, Lucky Charms s'mores. Still, I gave this cereal a middle of the road 3.0, which puts it in B tier. Next, we have a curious set of 3 Special K flavors that came out in 2024. And like I mentioned in the intro, nobody cared to watch Cerealsly episodes about Special K. I don't know why that is, but these were significantly lower in views than my other videos. Still, these weren't so bad. 2 of them, Strawberry Cheesecake and Banana and Cream, got 3.0s from me. So let's put those into B tier. This final one, which I had a lot of hope for, Iced Vanilla Latte, got slightly lower at only a 2.0, which puts it into the C tier. The next cereal on the tier list is the only one that I lost the box for somewhere. I can't believe it. I have 54 out of 55 cereal boxes from 2024, and I don't have this one. That is really frustrating. But it is Strawberry Vanilla Chex, only available at Sam's Club in those big double-bagged boxes, which is probably why I threw it out somewhere because I didn't want to keep that thing around. Anyway, I don't have it here to show you, but it was very good. I gave it a 4.0. It was a great balance of strawberry vanilla and regular rice Chex. I enjoyed it a lot. So that one went straight into the A tier. The next cereal is one of the most fun and interesting ones that came out in 2024, and that is Cinnamon Twist cereal from Taco Bell. Not many of you knew that this even existed. It was an Uber Eats exclusive, and you could only get it by ordering Taco Bell breakfast foods to be delivered by Uber Eats on a specific day of the year. This is basically regular Cinnamon Twists made shorter and shoved into a small cereal box, but it is a delightful cereal box. Can you see it changing colors like that? It's got one of those lenticular covers on it that shimmers as you twist it. Makes that sound if you run your fingernail over it. I loved this cereal. I love the novelty of it. I was shocked at how well regular Cinnamon Twists that are smaller worked as cereal. I gave this a 4.5, putting it all the way up into S tier. It is an incredible box. It's an incredible idea. It's an incredible exclusive. I think this is one of my prized possessions. We're getting near the end here, friends, and this one was the only cereal released to coincide with the Summer Olympics of 2024, and that is Team Cheerios. These are just called Frosted Berry, and they included 3 distinct flavors of Cheerios: strawberry, frosted, and blueberry. When we tried these, we discovered that yes, indeed, they were 3 separate flavors mixed together, which for me was fantastic. I gave it a 3.5, which puts it into A tier. Look at that, the whole line is filled up in the A tier. That's cool. Deserving of a gold medal. This Wednesday cereal, based on the Netflix series starring Jenna Ortega, certainly deserves applause for being one of the most striking boxes of the year. And the cereal itself looked great. A very dark chocolate puff with bright white marshmallows. Unfortunately, it tasted gross. It was too dark of a taste, really a bitter cereal, which is surprising to me, but very Addams Family. Still, it only got a 1.5 rating, which puts it into the middling C tier. And I can't believe it, but that brings us to our 2 final cereals that were new in 2024, and that was Wheaties Protein. These were strange ones. They appeared on shelves, and for some reason, every store I went to that had these did not put them by the other Wheaties cereals. They put them like, in the healthy section by the other protein cereals. And they're both nasty. This maple almond flavor tasted like maple almond protein powder you're putting in your mouth. It was bad. I gave it a 1.0. Here in the D tier it goes, but even worse. To finish us off, honey pecan flavor was terrible. The honey on it seemed disgustingly artificial, which is odd because it says it is made with actual honey. They got the grossest honey that you could ever find and put it on these. I gave this a terrible 0.5 score, putting it also in the D tier. So there you have it, friends. Every new cereal released in 2024 on a tier list. Again, I'm going to share a link to this on Tier Maker. If you want to fill out one of your own, I would love to see how your opinion differs from mine. See if you like some of them nasty cereals or if you agree with me on some of the greats. Just a heads up, next week we have one of my favorite episodes of the year where I invent 4 new cereals for 2025. And then coming up very soon, we have our 2nd anniversary episode, which is going to be in February, and I am thinking about making it a live episode. Would you watch that? Would you tune in to a live episode on a Saturday morning? Please do. That would be so fun to celebrate our 2nd anniversary in February. Now listen, if you haven't yet, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with what cereal we should look at together in a 2025 episode. Until then, never be soggy, my friends. Bye-bye.